What are you thinking and saying about yourself? Today, I want to share with you a tip that really transformed my relationship with myself, that really helped me not only lose my 50 kilos, but to keep them off. It helped me change the way I program my brain. Hi, for those of you new, my name's Grainger. I'm a life coach and a weight loss coach, and I help frustrated dieters get out of the weight loss mentality to transform their thinking, change their habits, and actually create a life they can live so they get to goal and stay there. When I first started my journey, when I had my 50 kilos to lose, I was in a place where I didn't like myself very much. I found that I was often saying negative, hurtful, mean things, judgmental, critical things about myself. And I found that it's so often true that we get caught up in this idea that we think about, first of all, we pick up the idea of body shaming and conventional attractiveness and things like that from our culture, our upbringing, our peers, etc. I know I was often bullied or teased at high school for being the chubby kid. And I'm not immune from it. I know I teased others. So we can start to think that we're not good enough, that we aren't capable, that somehow we must be weak or like weak-willed, or we must be hopeless or powerless, or there's something wrong with us. But instead, that's not true at all. All that's happening is we've developed some unhealthy habits. We're overeating or making poor food choices. And so often we're doing it because we're already thinking mean, critical, nasty, unkind, judgmental thoughts about ourselves. When all that's happening, our brain is trying to protect us. It doesn't know how to cope with the emotions that are going on, the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, the worry, the anxiety. And so it just tries to distract us with food. I believe that most people who end up with unhealthy habits do so because they use food for a reason that's not hunger. I know I used to. We use it for medication to make ourselves feel good. We use it for distraction so we don't have to do the work or think about something or to feel a certain emotion. I remember when I was at university, my house never got cleaner than when it was exam time. We use food for, as I said, medication, distraction, or stimulation for when we're bored. And then, because we often take on diets and weight loss programs and exercise programs that aren't realistic, that can't actually fit into our life, and we don't think about how to do that, then we kind of set ourselves up for failure, right? We try to take on too much too soon, too big a change, too many changes. We try and think we should just be perfect. We should be able to just follow a plan because we've decided to. And then, because we make so many changes, or we make unrealistic changes, or we're not connected to why that change matters, then life happens. It gets chaotic, gets difficult, or we fall back into doubt or insecurity, or even just we get triggered by our environment, our cues. And so we return to our old, most practiced habits. And then our critical voice comes in again until it says, see, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you aren't strong enough. You're just hopeless. You know what to do, but you're not doing it. You're stupid, you're lazy. None of that helps. Today, I want to really encourage you to notice, first of all, the kinds of language that you use about yourself in your thoughts and in your words. Very often, when I'm talking to clients and when I'm meeting people, just talking to people, that they'll say things about themselves that I don't think they're even conscious of doing anymore. It's so practiced, it's so habitual. Like, I'm just silly, or, I can't, I don't, not good enough. And so today I really want to just keep back to this point. Just first of all, we have to notice. Notice the language you use with yourself, in your thoughts and in your words. And the reason I think this matters is because language is how we program our brain. The great majority of our thinking is subconscious. Only about 10% of our brain, the often idea we only use 10% of our brain, it comes from this idea that our cortex, the thinking part of our brain, actually only uses up about 10% of the neurons in our brain. And 90% of our brain is subconscious. It's all of the automated systems, it's all of our deep thinking, it's our intuition, innovation, it's our inner wisdom. Lots of our brain's doing lots of work below the surface, if you like, all of the time. And the way we talk about ourselves, the kind of inputs we put in our life, including our own voice, tell our brain what's important to look out for, what to focus on. So have you ever found yourself being caught up with critical, negative voice? In fact, if you're watching the replay, let me know. What kinds of things are your most commonly thoughts you say to yourself? Are they complimentary? Are they loving? Are they kind? Are they empowered? Are they inspiring? Or are they critical, judgmental, and downright mean? Language programs our brain. And because our brain can only take in so much information, we walk through the world with our filters on. And our brain has what's called a cognitive bias. It always looks for evidence for what we believe is true to be true. So if you think you're hopeless, you're no good, you're undisciplined, you're not focused, you can't do it, it's too hard, you're busy, you're stressed, you don't have time, it'll go looking at all of the reasons why that is true. The good news is we can use that to our advantage. Before I get into how, I want you to think about how it feels to be criticized, to be judged, to be spoken to in a mean way. It doesn't feel good. It feels terrible, it's defeating, it's demoralizing. And then, when we feel bad, often we'll go to seek pleasure, avoid pain, conserve energy. We will turn to comfort, maybe find food to eat. We'll use it as a distraction and try and make ourselves feel better. And we get locked in what I call the depression spiral. So I learned this technique when I very first started. I read a book. Actually, I have it here. I got it back out again. I haven't read it for. I read it just again recently. I haven't read it for like 14 years since the start of my journey. It's called Every Word Has Power. Not especially recommending it. It's just one of those moments when you see just one line in a book or you hear one piece of advice and it really gels with you. And in this technique, Yvonne Oswald, who is the author, talks about switching your language. And you'll notice I clicked my fingers when I said the word switch. In the line, she talks about switching your language from low energy, negative, if you like, words and language, through to higher energy, positive words. And it was in this book that she introduced me to the idea that language matters. The book is called Every Word Has Power. And since that day, I've really tried to be conscious of how I speak about myself, how I think about myself. Because what we think drives our feelings, and our feelings drive our actions, and our actions produce the results in our world. So when we think things about ourselves, when we say mean and demoralizing and critical and judgmental things, we feel bad. And we tend to make poor decisions. We do bad things. We prove that we are bad. What a horrible place to be. And, if you like it, if it works for you, great. But it doesn't take you towards your goals. So how do we do it? Well, we switch. I encourage you to think about every time you hear yourself think or say something mean, critical, judgmental, negative, especially about yourself. I mean, yes, do it for other people too. It's amazing how often it goes from us and then out into the world. But so often we say things to ourselves that we would never say to a loved one, a friend, a trusted family member, someone we truly cared about. We would never use this kind of language. So please, let's stop doing it to ourselves. So today, my simple tip to help you move towards your goals is to switch your language. To go from negative, judgmental, critical, to empowered, inspiring, complimentary, kind. Could you say something nice to yourself, about yourself? Could you acknowledge your strengths? Could you touch base with your courage, your motivation, your love, your determination, and inspire yourself? Now, for some of you, that might be a challenge. We're so practiced in thinking the negative things that we're not even aware of it. So step one, become aware. Really notice the language you're using in your brain and in your words. And it might be helpful sometimes to have an accountability partner. A partner, friend, colleague, family member. Someone who can catch you. So tell them about this and maybe challenge each other to notice. And every time you hear them or they hear you use a negative language, just say the word switch. It's going to be a fun little game. It can really help you be accountable. But even just for yourself, I just did it for myself. Every time I heard it, like, no, switch. And I tried to make it something positive. Now, if you're like me, when I had my 50 kilos on extra, I couldn't go to positive. I was so far in the negative. I was so down on myself that I couldn't switch over to positive. It just seemed unbelievable. And if that's you, I feel you. I want you to know, first of all, it is possible to change. It is possible to transform that. You can get to positive. If you're just starting out and you don't feel like you can go all that way, when you switch to neutral. So can you find neutral language? You know, if you're starting out with, I hate my body, and you can't go all the way to I love my body, can you come to, I have a body. This is my body right now. It's really interesting. A quick aside here. It was really eye-opening in my journey when I first realized this concept of how we use these words to describe ourselves like our identity. I am fat, for instance. I really want you to think about this. If you're a human, you have fat. If you're overweight, you have more fat, right? I have fat. Not I am fat. It's like I have fingernails. I have skin. I am not skin or fingernails. Notice the difference. You are not your fat. You have some fat on your body. If you'd like to change that, you can. So, can we go to neutral? The other way I like to add to going to neutral is notice when you're saying things like, I can't do it, it's too hard, I don't know how, I don't know the next step. Add the word yet. Y-E-T. I can't do it yet. Just notice that as soon as we add the word yet, it allows for possibility. Right? If that doesn't fit, try right now. I am feeling this way right now. Both of those open us up to the idea of change. And so sometimes when we're locked into a habitual negative thinking, we have to, first of all, allow for the possibility that other thinking is available. And as you start to do that, your brain will naturally start to shift it. With a little nudging, a little direction, you can go, well, let me just try on something positive. I appreciate my body. I care for my body. I look after my body. I love my body. It's totally available to you right now. I am amazing. I am capable. I am certain. And even, remember, I am human. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I fall into old habits. Sometimes I feel negative emotion. Nothing is going wrong. That is part of the human experience. When you can accept that it is just part of the deal, it's not who you are. It's just what you're feeling right now. It reminds your brain that things change. It isn't permanent. And it reminds us that we are in control. Remember, all feelings come from our thinking. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings drive actions. Actions produce results in the world. We literally create our reality from our thinking. So, that's my simple tip for today. What's your language about you? Switch it to either neutral or to positive. And report back to me over the week. Let me know in the comments. What changes? What do you notice? What becomes possible? This really is the first part of changing our relationship with ourselves and changing our relationship with food so that we can move forward to whatever goals we have in mind. If you want some more help with that, reach out to me. Book a free one-to-one consultation at livemorelife.com.au. We can talk about how you could move forward towards your goals. Otherwise, share your hints and tips about switching your language. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Have an amazing day.